This trade tip was published in the Cutting Edge in March of 2012, and it's about using the off-fall from when you cut your stair stringers out to set the bevel angle on your saw for later on, and you can use it to set with a miter saw or with a regular power saw. Okay, so we're using a 1x12 stringer for our sample here. And the block that we're going to be using is the off-fall block that you get whenever you cut your stringer out. This here portion of the cut that comes from the tread, and this portion that comes from the riser, is used to mark level and plumb cuts. Now, if I place it here against the stringer again, you can see the unit run, when the stringer is in place, will be level. The rise will be plumb. This edge here of the board is what I'm going to be calling the hypotenuse later on, or the factory edge of the board. This establishes the degree of incline that your stairs will be running at. So now I have my block. Here's the factory edge of the board, or the hypotenuse. If I'm going to need to make a plumb cut on a board, I do this by placing the hypotenuse, or the factory edge, against the fence of the saw. Whenever you're adjusting the saw for safety purposes, the saw should be unplugged, and ours is here. And then I'm going to adjust the saw to match that angle. And that's it about right there. And I'm just going to lock it down. And now I can duplicate the degree of incline of my stairs exactly with the miter saw. Okay, as we just talked about, if you can make the cut on a miter saw, that's always best. But sometimes you have to make the cut in place on a post that is already set or a piece of railing. Again, we're going to use our block to set the bevel angle on the saw for any bevel cut. Now, again, make sure your saw is unplugged. But all we're going to do is we're going to release the bevel angle on the saw, and I'll kind of pull it around, and I'll just rest it here against myself. And I'm going to use this block, and the factory edge of the board, the hypotenuse again, is going to go against the table. Okay? And I'm going to adjust it to where it is seated flat against the table, and the rise portion here is sitting even against the saw blade. I need to take this down just a little bit. And there, that's a real nice fit. So once I have that established, I'm going to lock the saw blade on the angle. And now, once again, my saw is set at the exact degree of incline that my stairs are built at. Okay, here's the post and handrail section of a set of stairs we have in a shop here to get to a training prop we have. And it illustrates some of the angles and bevels that we've been talking about that you can duplicate with just the off-fall. If you take a block, for instance, here's the top little handrail we got. We're just using a 2x4, but here's that bevel cut we were talking about. That can be made, in this instance, on the miter saw to duplicate that angle, as well as this angle here. If I take and put a straight edge up there and put my gauge block on there and slide it up, you can see how the block duplicates the angle. That angle comes from your framing square that you used to lay out the stairs. Okay? It's all the same angle of incline. So that about covers everything that I was wanting to show you for using the off-fall block that you get whenever you cut your stringers out. And that's your trade tip of the month. Thanks.